we're going to turn our attentions a little bit to the IPL, which is ongoing. We've got our good mate, Dinesh Karthik, joining us shortly. You're laughing at the good mate bit there.
Yeah, you've added a bit there with the good mate. He's just a bloke we work with occasionally and commentate on, Dinesh Karthik, yeah.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted to say that our old friend Dinesh Karthik has joined us, looking resplendent as ever. You've not disappointed us, DK. I knew you'd. We're dressed in somber black, and I knew you'd come on.
Why am I not surprised?
Full of colour. Now, IPL, you have been involved with, as far as I can see, Delhi, Kings 11, Mumbai, Gujarat, Kolkata, RCB. Have I left anybody out?
I reckon if you go the other way around, it's easier. You only have to name 3 teams.
You've changed teams 7 times. This either means you're unbelievably highly sought after, or teams just can't wait to get rid of you. Which one is it?
Well, I think you got to ask the teams that. But yes, I've been part of a few teams. Some exist, some don't. But yeah, it's been quite the journey so far.
And I owe you an apology, really, because way back when England were in India for the Test series, we were having a natter in the commentary box privately, and you said to me, "Oh, this will be my last IPL." And I didn't realize, I thought that was kind of public news. And then in one of the podcasts with Nas, I just let it slip that, this is DK's last IPL. And then I had a load of messages from Indian journalists saying, you've let it slip. This is not common knowledge. So first of all, apologies. But I'm amazed to think that the journalists thought you might just wrestle another IPL next year after this one.
Well, irrespective of whether I said it to others or not, which I hadn't, by the way, it just increased the pressure many folds because they're like, okay, last season, what are you going to do? What have you got for us? So yes, it could. I'm pretty sure that this is my last IPL, and why I don't commit, I don't know. I just feel it's a fickle human mind. Probably at the end of it, I'm like, I want Sky Sports doesn't give me a gig. I'll probably go back to the auction. God knows what it could be. So you got to weigh your options. Just stay light there.
Are you pretty sure? Because you've been smashing it around. You had a fabulous start to the tournament. That role, the finisher, suits you, DK. I mean, I saw you pushing yourself for a World T20 spot in the Caribbean as well after one innings.
Nas, even if you are like a tiger in sheep's clothing, I'm not going to trust a word of what you said. Just for all the Sky Sport podcast listeners, Nas doesn't like me as a person, as a player, as a wicketkeeper, let alone any part of me. This is the first time he said, "Oh, you're smashing it." He's probably seen the scorecard once or twice and then said, "All right, this guy has done something worthwhile." But still, if you ask Nas, if he puts an Indian team right now and asks 6 keepers, I'd probably be the 8th one on the list and he wouldn't put me there. Let's make that very clear. Let's get that straight. Last year when I was in the World Cup, the only person in the world who wanted me so badly out of the team, you announced it on Sky Sports. I don't know why they haven't released it yet. You took an interview with me. You stabbed me in the back. And then you said, this guy doesn't deserve. Where is Rishabh Pant? That's the headline that we got. So let's make it very clear. Don't try to play nice and coy with me. It's been 2 games. You'll probably give me a ring after 10 games and say, I just thought for a second you batted well. Now I'm not surprised. Now everything looks good. You're not going well. But on a serious note, I think it's been a good start for me personally. And I'm very happy with that. As I said last year, I just wanted to make sure. And I've had this conversation with both of you all at different points of time during my last trip to UK, where I asked, how do you decide when to retire? Is there something called a nice swan song? Does something like that even exist? So, it's coming to the end, and it has come to the end, to be honest. It's just that I did bat well in a couple of games, felt good, which was very surprising. I was doing a lot of broadcasting, trying hard to practice. It's not easy mixing broadcasting with playing because A, you need to stay fit. That is the most important thing. B, to get a certain amount of skills practice is not that easy. At times when you're playing, other teams are playing. And what I mean by that is domestic cricket is happening. So you don't find players to help you practice. They're all busy doing their own thing. So to practice alone is one thing, but when you get in a team environment, play a game, it's a completely different kettle of fish. You feel very out of place at the start, and that's what I felt. I played a tournament called the DY Padel tournament, and I was abysmal in that, and that got the fear even more. What am I going to do this year? But luckily, then I practiced and did whatever possible, played as many practice matches as possible. And I'm very thankful that things have just gone the way it has so far on a personal front.
And also, it's a very difficult decision to make, isn't it? We all play because we love the game. You're a long time retired. Once you've made the decision, although people have retired and come back, but once you've made the decision, that's it. So it's not a thing to be taken lightly, is it?
Yeah, well, unless you're Shahid Afridi, I guess. But yeah, I mean, most cases, I guess once you say it's done, it's done. And at this age, there's no looking back. So I guess I just feel that when you finish, how I look at it is, do I regret anything or am I missing something? Well, I don't know as of now. Regrets, I said even a couple of times, just a couple of regrets in cricket. The fact that probably I had this opportunity to be retained, now that we speak about IPL, to be retained by Mumbai Indians. I reckon I missed the opportunity there. They were very keen on me, but I thought differently. And, reflecting back on that, it wasn't probably the best decision for my career at that point of time. B is a regret because I haven't played for Super Kings, and that's because I'm from Chennai. I've lived all my life there. But, they try hard every year. And as I said, as a joke last time as well, they've helped me in my bank balance and constantly, bidding for me and raising my price up. It's just that they couldn't get me, so I'm not complaining too much. But yes, these are the two things that I would probably regret. Again, is a strong word. Is I wish I could turn around the clock and, change things in those two fronts. What
about this year, DK, in the tournament in general? Scores seem to be going through the roof. I think the average score is 191. What are the trends in the tournament this year so far from what you've seen early days?
The impact player rule has had a massive impact, pun intended, on the game so far, genuinely, because it's not often that you get two 270s in the first 20 matches of a tournament. You have 4 totals of 200s being chased. So the fact that you can bat a genuine batter at number 8 has really lengthened what scores could be. And they've pushed players up top to be even more fearless, to go on and take the bowling apart if you can. There used to be a bit of a trend where, they used to take down bowlers in power play. Then there used to be a bit of a lull for 2 or 3 overs, and then they'll again start striking and then finish it off on a strong note. But you've gotten to a place where there is no time to play a few overs to have a look, or, once the power play finishes, let over number 7 be one where you just, try and just play a couple of singles. That mindset is literally out of the window. Literally, the game right now is you go hard. If you don't lose wickets, go even harder till you get out. That seems to be the mantra. And hence you see targets like 270. And interestingly, almost, to think that 270 could have been chased down. The team was, in sight of it is scary, actually, to be honest, if you're playing right now. Imagine that 270 is 13 and a half runs and over. And to think that a team is competing for about 2/3 of the game and they're almost taking it down is phenomenal, honestly.
And is that the biggest change that you've seen? You've obviously been involved right from the start of this competition. I was looking at the number of matches you've played, 246. Only MS Dhoni has played more, I think, in that time, 254. So you've kind of seen it in its entirety. Is that the biggest change? Just that perhaps that horizons have been lifted about what is possible now from a batting perspective?
I think this is the fastest growing format. A. B, it's the format that has changed the most. We're just speaking about one aspect of what it has been this year. But I promise you, if you take 2008 to 2024 today, amazing things have happened. A, the quality of batsmanship. 140 used to be a winning total in 2008. It became 160 around 2012. It became probably around the 2020s. 180 was a hard total to chase down. Now, 200 is par for the course in most grounds. You get to 200, it's not like you can breathe easy. You need to bowl well. You get to 230, then you think, okay, this game, I think I've kind of scored more. So that's with the batting. Now with bowling, if you have to look at skill sets, there are no off spinners in the market right now. You can take any finger spinner. The word off spinner literally doesn't exist. More often than not, it's a batter who can roll his arm over. I know you're laughing because your son is growing off spinner and doing really well. It's not very encouraging to hear that, but that's the fact. Off spinners are literally out of the game. You only have all-rounders who can bowl a bit of off spin. If you are a finger spinner, a left-arm spinner or an off spinner, you need to know to turn the ball the other way around for teams to have the confidence to play you as a genuine bowler. Because if you're a left-arm spinner, it's coming to a stage where if a left-hander is there, it becomes literally impossible for the captain to throw the ball to him unless he knows he has the ball going away, or the pitch is slow and turning, which is pretty rare these days in T20 cricket. It's all flat pitches, slightly smaller grounds. It's all about hitting boundaries. The crowds love it, as you would know, and hence it's always marketed towards the batters, understandably so. So for the in 2010, Ravi Ashwin came in, let's say, as an example, bowled with the new ball and was phenomenal for a few years. Now, Ravi Ashwin doesn't bowl a ball of off-spin to a right-hander. All he focuses on is carom ball, backspin, getting the ball going away, nothing coming in. The bats have become better. The bat swing has become better. The ability to hold when you're almost committed to a shot, to wait and still hit it to a different part of the ground to a six has become a lot better now. So, people are constantly pushing their boundaries as batters to hit sixes. And I think you have a question for me, Mas. Tell me.
Well, it's an interesting debate, really, because scores are going through the roof. And as a spectacle, can it go too far in favour of a batsman or of a batter, in as much as every ball is a 4 or 6? The event of a 6 has almost gone. It's like every other ball is a boundary. But if you say that to TV audiences and people in the crowd, they love that. They love that spectacle of boundaries. But the sort of battle between bat and ball, has it gone too far in the favour of the batter?
Yeah, with the advent of impact player, I think all-rounders are not needed anymore as well, because you can have 7 proper batters, 5 proper bowlers, and in case one of those bowlers get hit really badly, then you can get an over or 2 of one of your part-timers, so to say. So yes, it is very much in favor of the batters, but that's exactly, you answered the question. That's what crowds seem to like, because after the impact player rule has come in, the average score has gone from 165, I think, to 191 in a space of 1 year. So they like it a lot more. I mean, as a broadcaster, that's exactly what you want, more boundaries. And am I a big fan of it? No, I'm not a big fan of 270s, 280s. No, I think the skill in terms of, there is a bit of cat and mouse, even in T20 cricket. If a certain bowler comes, probably he's not my matchup, let me just wait. But now the batter is saying, even if he's not my matchup, at times I need to go after him. That means I lose my wicket, so be it. Let me just go after him, because there is even more batters left. The mindset has shifted a little bit. So yes, it has gone a lot in favor of that.
But isn't that the value? I mean, I noticed Jasprit Bumrah's figures yesterday as we speak, or the day before, nearly 450 runs scored in the game, and he bowls 4 overs, 2 for 22. It is still those superstar bowlers that win you games. I know batters can set you up games or whatever, but a bowler like that, I mean, Bumrah, it's incredible what he manages in this era of hitting potential.
That just tells you the quality of him. To be honest, I don't think there is anyone of his caliber who can play all 3 formats and dominate the way he is. And that's why I think at this point of time, as we speak, he is the most valuable cricketer on the planet, because he's playing all 3 formats and very strong and adept at all 3 formats. I can't think of one player in any skill set who dominates it as much. It's a hard one. And, the problem is, as much as you say it is a very interesting fact and it's great to see Bumrah doing that, there is no one else doing it. So why should we cater to, just one out of an ecosystem where thousands are there, and everybody else are probably on the same platform doing normal things, but he's very special. You'd rather cater to the 1,000, which would mean score more runs, give flatter wickets, bring the boundaries in closer, let the bowlers have a slightly tougher time than the batters. And I think overall that's more appreciated by the people watching the sport right now. It's all young boys and girls. And I'm sure, they, at least in India, I know they seem to like T20 format a lot more to Test cricket. In England, it's slightly different.
Talking of fast bowlers, young Mayank Yadav has taken the tournament by storm, hasn't he? With the pace he's been bowling and some of the thunderbolts he's been sending down. You had a decent look at him earlier on in the tournament. Tell us a little bit about him and that kind of eye-catching pace.
Yeah, very quick. Luckily or unluckily, I got out to him second ball. Thanks to technology, I just escaped that bullet. Just went over the stumps. Umpire gave it out. So he's quick, he's sharp. But the good thing about him, generally people who come in and bowl at that kind of pace, over a period of time, haven't been very consistent with their length. He's very good with his length, which is what makes him really special.
Did I see you play a classic Test match leave first ball? I was sat in front of my telly and licking DK the finisher. All I'd heard was all over Twitter, DK the finisher. Here we go. And you came and you played the perfect leave first delivery. Are you trying to get back in the Test side as well?
I reckon probably, as the bowler was running, I was thinking about you for a second there. Just back with leave. But to be honest, so far, I think he's the quickest bowler I faced this year. So, it was a bit of like, wow, that's sharp. Um, the practice pitches in Bangalore at times have been tough to play on. So a lot of the batters have not played fast bowlers. They played spinners a lot more, side armers a little bit, but not so much fast bowling. So this is the difference. When you don't play fast bowling as much and when you're doing broadcasting and all of that, you can get, you can play muscle memory for spin. You can up to 130, 135. You've played it a few times. So, somebody bowling 140 and is in the middle of a sharp spell. Now, that's where you need to have constantly played cricket for your body and mind to react at a certain pace and get ready for the ball. Even the second one that I got out was just sheerly beaten on pace. I mean, by the time a bat came, I got out. Not like other domestic players who had played the whole season wouldn't have gotten out. But for me, I could feel the difference. I'd been before where I was practicing, playing the whole season, and then I come and play a 140 bowler the way I react to one where I'm a little rusty, and then, the ball comes back at that speed. And then you need to literally, be slightly sharper, have a slightly lower back lift, make sure, you're getting in position slightly earlier. You're tuning all of this in the middle of a match, and, you're trying to get ready. The next ball was a back foot punch for a single, and thankfully his spell is over, and, that's that for him for that day. But I could see those are the small things that, you need to adapt on the go as you play a game like that.
It's part of a broader development, isn't it, over the last generation or so, this emergence of a lot of genuinely quick bowlers in India. If you go back to when myself and Nas played, Javagal Srinath was quite sharp, but in terms of strength and depth of fast bowling, that's been one of the significant developments in the time that you've been playing.
Oh, absolutely. I think IPL has genuinely thrown forward a lot of good cricketers. And, for that matter, if you take a separate skill set, fast bowling, it's thrown a couple of years back. It was Umran Malik. We've had a few names come through purely because of IPL. And that's the beauty of IPL. I love their catch cry, actually, which basically says talent meets opportunity. And that's exactly what it is. And, every year it seems to throw new cricketers, and it always will, because there are new cricketers being churned out every day in every part of the country. And they all get this platform to come and play. And, a story like Mayank Yadav, we all see him today and we speak about him. But the fact is, he's been there for 3 years with LSG. He was, he wasn't played because probably the set of coaches didn't feel he was there ready yet. They worked on him. They've taken time on him. He's come out from an injury. But then to come back and bowl after an injury and bowl at this speed and be this consistent is phenomenal. And credit to LSG for unearthing a player like that. And it's good to see India constantly producing this kind of talent. The next step is obviously trying to win a big title, which is around the corner, I reckon, but that's the challenge.
Can I ask you about your role as a finisher, which, I suppose from 2018 onwards, you started to get this tag as the finisher. I mean, we did ask Benedict, I'm going to slightly take the mickey here, but we did ask Benedict to work out how many rupees you've earned in the IPL since 2008. Do you know the figure that he came back with? I mean, it is amazing. It's almost 1 billion rupees, 924 million rupees, which comes out at about just under 9 million quid, which is not a bad return for somebody finishing at the end of an innings. But just, I mean, there'll be lots of young cricketers out there. This role as a finisher is one that's come relatively late to cricket because, for all kinds of reasons. You're a kind of specialist in that role. Just give if I was a young cricketer watching this podcast and wanted to learn about the mentality of finishing, because, when we grew up, you enjoyed batting, so you want to bat as many balls as you can, but that's a very different mentality for somebody like you who might come in and know you've maybe only got a dozen balls or so to make an impact upon the game. How do you condition yourself mentally for the particular role that you're expected to play now at RCB?
So as a finisher, now there are two types of batting that you need to be very aware of. One is instinctive, where I go and I did what I did to Mayank Yadav. Back foot, just leave the ball. That's normal batting. And then the second aspect is power hitting. Now, for the first aspect, that's what I train a lot more for. To be able to go out there and instinctively put bat to ball and still find a single or hit a boundary. That, the more I am good at that, the better chances that I can be consistent. Then comes the power hitting part. Now, the power hitting part is obviously very dependent on where I'm batting. If it's like 18th, 19th over, yes, I'm going for it. If I have wickets in hand, I'm going for it. Or I delay it as much as possible. Because power hitting is obviously, there's only one thought in mind. I'm hitting 6 every ball. It's not even a boundary, it's 6. So you're taking the utmost risk in trying to do that every ball. So as a batter, if I'm a finisher, all the more reason I need to bat a lot more for two things. To be in touch when I get in, I should be very, very sure of what I'm doing because I face very little bowling. I might be playing 7 balls, 8 balls. In a week, I might end up playing just 12 balls. Like in the last 3 games that I've played, one match I played 8 balls, another match I haven't batted, and the match before that I've played 9 balls. So in the last 2 weeks, I've played 14 balls in the game. So straight away, when you walk into every game, you're going to be slightly rusty unless you've batted and pushed yourself in practice to bat enough to be very confident of having both those games ready. As I said, one is instinctive batting where you just go, see ball, look ball, get the length, pick the length early, play the shot required for it. And then there is death hitting. Death hitting is where you stand deep in the crease, you're ready to hit the ball to a 6. So you get into what is called a power position using the ground forces and all that, and you practice all that. Now, with power hitting, why you can't practice that so much a lot is because it takes a toll on your body. You can only practice it for 15 to 20 minutes max if you want a good output out of it. Otherwise, you end up just playing for the sake of it. You'll develop bad habits. You might get an injury as well. So when you're practicing power hitting, you need to be very precise, very sure about what you're practicing. So this is how I practice: A, the instinctive; B, the power hitting part.
What is the key? Because you're not a big, strong. I mean, we saw Romario Shepherd the other day, big and strong. We've seen Andre Russell just bully the ball for 6. I mean, hit it massive. You're not big and strong. So what are the key elements for you? Is it a stable base? Is it wrist? What makes you hit the ball so far, you think?
So that's a great question. Number one, when you actually talk about power hitters, it is exactly those players that you named. They are actually power hitters. Romario Shepherd, Russells, Pollards. Now, people like me, Nicholas Purin, the smaller ones, our bigger strength is bat swing, the bat speed. Those are our biggest strengths. And most importantly, getting into a position to play that ball for a 6, and even more importantly, the skill to get out of it if the ball is not there for it. What a lot of players will do is commit to hitting a 6 and try and hit a 6 rather commit and try and hit a 6 whatever they have planned before. The greatest skill for a player like me is to commit myself to try and hit a 6, and in case the ball is not what I thought it out to be, the ability to still find the boundary. It could be over the fielder or hitting gaps. Now, this is what makes a player like me very, very effective if I need to be. Because what power hitting means, like for a Russell and a Romario Shepherd, the difference is miss hits of theirs can go for 6s. Whereas with me, I need to hit it correctly. If I miss hit, more often than not, it'll be out. So I need to practice that much harder to get into good positions, get my bat swing and bat speed ready. But more importantly, also train my brain in such a way that in case the ball that I'm looking for is not there. And what I mean by that is generally when you see a field, you know as a batter what the bowler is trying to do. If he has a short fine leg, he isn't going to bowl a bouncer every ball. You can get ready for the Yorker or a slow one. These are the 2 balls that he's looking to bowl. So at the back of your mind, subconsciously, you're ready for it. But in case that ball is not there, your ability to still find the boundary using that position is what makes players like me, or what I call touch players, very effective in that phase. That's why you'll see players like me not play too many dot balls, hit a lot more 4s than 6s. But still, if the opportunity arises where it's in the slot, we'll still try and put it away. So that's what you need to practice for.
How quickly are you looking to find the bat? I mean, it vary from situation to situation, obviously, when you come in. But are you somebody that, if you don't hit a boundary in your first 3 balls, starts to get a bit twitchy, or, an early boundary sets you on your way?
An early boundary definitely helps me a lot in terms of calming my nerves, and I feel a lot better after that. But if I don't get a boundary within the first 5-6 balls, more often than not, my innings itself is over. But in case there is time as well, 5 to 6 ball, I'm looking to hit a boundary somewhere. I mean, that's the ideal place to be. If I've not hit a boundary after that, that means they're either bowling really well or not batting well on that given day. And the knock that you saw is a great case in point. I batted 8 balls. First couple of balls, I did what you did, just well left and defense and all of that, just surviving that over. But from the next over, I'm trying to hit the ball to the boundary, and I couldn't. They bowled in areas that I couldn't hit. I took a couple of singles. Then the ball I got out actually was a ball that I could have put away for a boundary. I ended up getting out. So that's the point as well. When you bat as a finisher, the chance of you being consistent is very low. But if you want to create an impact, you have to be very aware that it's not about consistency there. It's about how you can make best use of 6 balls at that stage and make an impact. Like I reckon Romario Shepherd's 30 that he got against Delhi was the turning point in that game. If it had been 210, 215, it would look very different to 240.
And mentally, then, how easy was it for you to adjust to this role that is focused on perhaps 8 balls or 10 balls compared to players of our generation who you might look to bat for a whole day? That's quite a shift mentally, isn't it? You're a professional player, but you only might have an impact for 8 balls, and the traditional metrics of looking at averages and all that completely gone out the window. How easy was it for you to shift to that mentality?
In fact, if a finisher has a good average, it's actually a bit of a problem. That means he's at times trying to just be not out. That's what it actually means. So a finisher should be based on the impact that he creates. And there are many ways to judge that. Strike rate is just the starting point of it. Who he's striking, how well is he striking, most importantly, how is he able to adapt to pressure. There are times when you're probably going early, like in the first game I played against CSK, we were, I think, less than 100 for 5 or 6 wickets down. So then you just see a few overs and then you go hard towards the end of it. So as a player, I found it hard initially that I felt I wasn't consistent enough. But as I kept playing in that role, I realized that players, the coaches around me also were new to this concept. Mostly up until 2017-18, there weren't any finishers. They'd expect the top order batters to finish the game. That's what they're used to. You go, take your time, get set, but once you play, see the innings through. Bat fully. This is what we want you to do. But slowly, I think the cricketing world is understanding it's okay if a batter gets out. The role of the finisher is to go out there and do this exact, at this point, to do this, which is to go and finish the game as well as possible. So I realized that in trying to do that, consistency can be expected from the top 3, and even that impact is important, but still, okay, you can expect a certain amount of consistency. But at the back end of the game, it's all about creating impacts consistently. I think it's about, trying to play that audacious shot very early in your inning, training for that. And it's mostly fraught with risk. So consistency becomes hard, but mostly you have to be at peace with yourself. I know there's a player in my team who, tried that, 3 games, didn't go well, a couple of them for that matter. And they might be thinking, it's so hard and it's such a tough role, because every time you walk in, that's exactly what they expect you to do. Take lesser balls, score more runs. Take lesser balls, score more runs. The pressure is high. So it is a very tough skill, one that you need to make peace with, that it's not a skill where you're going to, be constantly spoken about, because there are going to be more bad days than good days. And that's the nature
you're
of
talking about making peace with failure, really, which, I mean, that in professional sport is a big thing, but in particularly in your role where you're not always going to succeed, I suspect.
Because the beauty about batting in that position is you're not going to get out to a good ball. You will get out to a normal good length ball. Your weight could have been slightly further back than what it should be, and it'll end up being caught on the boundary. Now, how do you constantly judge that? If you're being very hard on yourself, then you will forget the good things that you're doing, in the lead up to that, be it, hitting a good boundary or whatnot. You'll constantly focus on the position and the shot that you've played, and you'd be upset with that. And in trying to constantly work and get better at that, you lose a lot of your other strengths, which has been really working well for you. So you need to be very aware as a middle order, as a finisher, to understand what your strengths are. You're getting into good positions, playing good shots, but a lot of the times you'll get out to innocuous balls, you'll get out to full tosses, waist high full tosses, and you're thinking, geez, how can I do that every time? But it is what it is. The bowler could have been slightly quicker. The ball could have been at a slightly different angle. The field would have made you get into a certain position, and then you're thinking, why did I premeditate? Why couldn't I just stood still and hit the ball? So, these sort of thoughts will come. But it's very, very important to understand your game and what your strength is, which for me is getting into positions, looking at the field. And the bowler is going to make it harder. He's not going to bowl to what his field is not. So he's going to make it harder for me, but still be okay if I get out a certain way. Those things take time. If you're just constantly judging yourself on the shot that you got out for failure, it's a very tough position to bat in. It's not like you're nicking off and you're technically bad. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole point here.
Can we move it on, because my heart bleeds? Your billion rupee finisher role. You're making it sound like the hardest thing ever since doing the Rubik's Cube or something. My gosh. Anyway, Can we move it on to India? Soon after the IPL finishes, World T20, Caribbean and America. Where are India in the pecking order? Because I watch the IPL and I look at the young and senior talent in Indian cricket. Unbelievable talent. But then I look at West Indians playing in this competition. I think they look a good side. Then I look at the South Africans playing in this competition. I think, whoa, they're going to be a good side in that World T20. I see Butler back in form, Salt teeing off nicely. There are going to be, as you said right at the start of this podcast, T20 cricket is going through the roof. The standard is going through the roof. So that world event is going to be a marquee event. Where are India positioned, DK?
They have a few great things happening for them, and they have a few tough things happening to them as well. And what I mean by that is they have some really good players in form. And if you do take the team list and see the names, you're always thinking, why aren't they winning? And so in the league phase, they ace it, they get to a knockout, and that's when it's all about dealing with pressure for India. It's as simple as that. But now, a couple of the issues that India have had is trying to understand how to formulate that 11. And what I mean by that is the all-rounders. Now, with the impact player rule coming in, the all-rounders going out of the window even more, we're getting more specialists. So in the near future, India is going to still have that issue of trying to figure out who their next all-rounder is. There is Hardik and Jadeja right now. Jadeja is obviously on the slightly older side, so who's next in that role? For the moment, let's just say Hardik and Jadeja will definitely walk into the 11 because they give that flexibility. Again, who they're going to play around them. There's plenty of questions. There's Rohit to open, Yashasvi. Where is Shubman Gill? Then you have Virat Kohli. What is the situation there? And then there is Surya Kumar. There is Shivam Dubey, who's done really well. There's Rinku Singh, who's been in great form. Jitesh Sharma, who's done well in the limited time that he's had. So there are more names than spots available right now. And I'm sure by the end of this IPL, there'll be a few more names coming through. The question for India is not about how their 11 is or how their spot is. It's about exactly what we've been discussing for about 3-4 World Cups now. Come the big game, can they bring their A game the way they have been playing in the league matches? The biggest success and the biggest plus for India in this recently concluded World Cup was throughout the World Cup, they promised us a certain template and they played to it. Whether they can do it in the T20 format, again, that's the only thing that, that I guess they can only answer it. And we have to watch and observe at that point of time, I guess. But do they have the skill set to do it? For sure, yes. But also, one thing that I am little, I think everybody is in the dark a little bit, is how the pitches are going to be. They're playing in New York. No one's ever played in New York now. We don't know what the pitches are. It needn't be 200 pitches. It could be 140, my winning score. So I guess, we have to wait and see what the situation is with those kind of pitches as well.
And a couple of questions before we let you go about RCB at the moment. I notice you're languishing in, as we speak, 9th place. Rajasthan, Josh Butler's team are flying high. Well, it's not his team. He's not captain now, but he came back to form the other day and they're flying high, 4 from 4. You're 1 from 5. Andy Flower, I noticed the other day, quoted as saying, we've got some real issues with our batting. Obviously Kohli in good form, but lacking a little bit of confidence, he said elsewhere. Is that the key issue for you at the moment?
A couple of things. One, we've lost a couple of wickets in the middle consistently through the game. So that's put us on the back foot. At a point where we could really accelerate, we're losing a couple of wickets and that's really pushing us back. So that's one area where we look to improve, where one of those middle order batters will go and get us that 50, 60 from about 30, 32 balls. Teams that have done that have actually gone on to score. And you get the feeling that 180 is not enough. It's no more a 180 game. You need to get closer to 200. If the pitch is good, obviously, which has been the case in most games. So you need to push 200 and push a little more than that. Teams, as I speak, I've got a couple of 270s and all whatnot. So it's been high scoring. So we need to keep up with those high scores wherever we play, because teams are comfortable chasing it down as well. Even now, the team winning the toss, almost every game is batting, bowling first. They prefer chasing. So you need to get that score when you bat higher. And for us, we have a very experienced fast bowling unit. There's no doubt about it. We have some good names. People have done really well in T20 cricket. The spinners are very young.
Well, what have you made of Andy Flower? I mean, he's a serial winner in franchise cricket around the world. He was brilliant with England, took him to #1. Me and Ath are have huge admiration for Andy as a person, player, and as a coach? Has he fitted in okay there?
I reckon he's been one of the best that I've worked with, only because of the clarity he gives. I think it is a great case in point, as you know, the support staff can only do that much. It is a captain-driven game. Cricket is. It is the fact. It is not football or basketball where the managers have such a big role to play on the field of play. Literally, I mean, if I had to give an analogy, it's like taking the horse to the water, which he has done, and he's provided us with whatever possible in terms of not only clarity, roles, and all of that, in terms of giving us space, in terms of understanding travel, like, you know, giving us days off after the game. The way he has managed it so far, I genuinely feel he's been outstanding. I can't. And a word for Mo Bobat as well. I think they've worked unbelievably well, both of them. It would be very unfair if I don't say it's two of the best people I've ever worked with. And it's only been 5 games. And I know you're thinking, oh, he's lost 1, he's just won 1 toss, lost 4, and he's just, you know, praising them no end. But genuinely, back end is about as good as you can do. And we have a very loyal.
That's another contract next year for you then?
Yeah, well, I hope you hear this. Put in a couple of bids.
Obviously, Will Jacks is with you. I won't. It would be unfair to put you on the spot and ask you whether Will Jacks should be playing. But we think he's going to be an integral part of England's T20 side in the Caribbean. Just from what you see in and around practice, is he somebody that has impressed you?
I've seen him play. If I'd only watched him for the first time in Bangalore, I'd say, you know, I'm definitely not impressed, because the pitches were green. We play on the outfield, and it's like basically playing the early months of the summer in UK. So it's been hard work to bat in the nets. But I've seen him play before in SA20 for Delhi Capitals and for Pretoria Capitals rather, and he is a super player. One that I like watching. I like people who hit over the offside very comfortably, and he's one of those who targets covers very well. So I like him personally. I think he has a lot of skill, and I think IPL is a gig which will really help him a lot and make him a lot better. He's very keen. I was sitting next to him the other day before I went to bat, having a chat about Surrey and what he's looking forward to. I asked him whether he'll be part of the T20 World Cup. He said for sure. So I have to wait and watch. I'm pretty confident he'll be there as well. He's a very confident lad, and I can see he's itching for his opportunity here. And I have no doubt that he'll come good, because the way he bats, the intent with which he bats, you can't go too wrong in T20 cricket.
Have you been frequenting that restaurant you took me to in Bengaluru, the one that does the beautiful medallions? Have you been there?
I've taken Mo Bobat so far, not Andy yet. When I realize I need the contract, I'm going to take that.
Well, it's an unbelievably long tournament. I mean, you're not going that well at the moment, but there is time to turn these things around, isn't there? And I mean, you've got plenty of time yet.
Yeah, look, I think when I was with KKR, last year that I was with KKR, Morgan was the captain, and it got stopped midway due to COVID. At this middle point, we were 7 matches played, 2 won, 5 lost. And then the second half started in Dubai. You know, we turned things around. We won 5, went to the finals all the way, and lost in the finals to CSK. So stranger things have happened. And to be very honest, if I was sitting in your place, I'd probably be a bit skeptical. But being a player, I'm still very optimistic that with the names we have on the roster and the way things are handled outside, I don't think good things can be too far away. That's what I'd be very surprised if we don't end the season well, because I mean, we're talking about Faf du Plessis, Virat Kohli, Glenn Maxwell, Cameron Green. These are some big names in international cricket. So, you know, can't go too many games without winning, can we? And I'm pretty confident with the younger boys doing what they've done so far as well, the likes of Mahipal Lamror, you know, Yash Dayal. So, you know, these guys are chipping in a lot more than what is expected. So I just believe that, I mean, the word momentum is a very strange word in IPL, but it somehow seems to work. And I think that if we do find a way of winning a couple of games, you can tend to get on a roll in these kind of tournaments.
Well, we wish you well. Thanks very much for joining us, as always. I know we'll catch up with you probably in the Caribbean. I'm sure you'll be there doing some commentary, if not on the main team, in the 11. Well, it's great to see you again, and I hope RCB's form picks up. At least you've been in decent touch, and I hope that continues for you. And good luck for the rest of the tournament. Great to see you.
Thanks, Athers. Thanks, Nas.